I am very fortunate to be able to be the coach's coach and helping people create multiple six, seven, eight-figure businesses. And I love doing that through marketing and sales and giving them systems from what I created that helped me build my businesses called Mastery to Million.
Exciting to be able to help people out, and we help each other in different ways and help other people in different ways.
Mhm.
And it's whatever excites us. Don't do anything for a day that you're not willing to do for a lifetime. That was one of the biggest lessons I ever learned.
When you buy a car, you buy it from the salesperson. And when the car breaks down, you bring it to the service department. You don't do everything. People should not try to be everything to everyone and just find something that they love and just do it.
Just do what you do best. Be happy with who you are inside, and then everything else will follow.
Hi, everyone. Jill Collins here again with Jill Collins Connections. Today, I have two more of my favorite people on the planet, Lisa Lieberman-Wang and her husband, Yardley Wang. I have known Lisa and Yardley for so many years now. We met through Tony Robbins Platinum Partners, through our joint memberships together in that mastermind group. And Lisa has actually coached me and was my strategist in getting my program out for divorced and widowed women. And I'm so grateful to her for that. And Yardley and both of them together, but he's secretly a relationships coach too, which I think is brilliant. And so Yardley is like my best bud. We've traded together. We've compared notes in the stock market over the years. And also when I'm in a jam with relationships, Yardley's the guy I go to and I go, hey, Yardley, what happened here? What do I need to do differently? And Lisa as well. But the two of them have done this course called Ignite Your Flame Within. And I've done that course with them and I'm hoping they'll do it again. Will you guys do Ignite Your Flame Within again? Oh, okay. We have a yes and a no. Okay. I hope they do. But anyway, I want to introduce you both to them because they are just incredible. Lisa's a #1 best-selling author multiple times. She's written Find a Fab and Mastery to Millions. And Yardley is a relationships expert. As I've said, he's also been coaching professionals on how to build themselves and their relationships for decades. So with that, I want to introduce, and Lisa also, she, as I consider her, and she says this too, is that she's the coach's coach. So coaches out there, if you are struggling with your business and how to get it off the ground, or you've been a coach for years and you're struggling to get clients, Lisa's the industry expert in this area. Unlike any other I have ever met, she will not only just teach you give you the tools and teach you how to do it, but she will make sure and stay on you until you follow through and you get it done and you have a finished product and you are getting clients. She teaches coaches how to build their businesses to 7 figures and beyond. And she not only teaches people, but she does it herself. So with that, I want to welcome you both here and thank you for being here today, Lisa and Yardley.
Excited to be here, Jill.
Really excited. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. As I said, I just adore you guys. They actually came and stayed with me a few months ago and helped me get my place in order. And they're just the best people. They're the people you want to be in. It's that top 32%. And I always say there's that 1% at the top and they're in my top one for sure. So I adore you guys. So tell us a little bit about what is it how did you get started, Lisa? And tell us a little bit about your relationship, because I think we're going to talk about business today and how coaches can get their businesses in order, and Yardley as well. And how did you get started and how do you guys function together? How do you work together as a couple in life?
First, I want to say we adore you too. It's a mutual admiration society here. And I've been really blessed. Yardley, I call him handsome. So if you hear I'll call him handsome. You can call him Yardley. But Handsome and I have been together 25 years and we both were married before. So we call this our last marriage. I had a psychic once who said I was going to be married 3 times. I was already married once. Then we got married and then we remarried each other so I can get it done with. So we got a 3.
We renewed our vows.
So I married him twice to see if we'd both say yes. So we've been together 25 years now and it's just been amazing. It's been a blessing. Nothing that we both ever expected we go through. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't know where to go with that, Jill. Where would you like me to go?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about when I met you, and you were telling me your story too. The first time we met, we were in a breakout call during, I think, the pandemic, and you were talking about how you just wrote a book in a week. And I'm like, how does she do that? Okay, I want to know more. And you and I got on a call that night, and I signed up for 6 months to work with you for 6 months, just like that. It's done. I'm in. I want this. And I sense that you are a go-getter. You're just driven. You do what you say you're going to do. You're a woman of high integrity. You both are high integrity. And just tell me about what was that like for you? Like you weren't always this way. You didn't always you're not making millions coaching and teaching experts. And showing people the way, that you've had moments you were making money, were in the corporate world. Tell us a bit about that, how that got started and where you were in those early days.
Absolutely. So my early days, I actually was always successful. I can honestly say that from being a young person, I was working for IBM and MCI. I was a top performer, top 1% in the world for MCI in sales. But what I did is I burned out all the time. I used to keep going and then I'd crash and I'd end up in the hospital for a couple of months and then I'd come out and do it again and then end up in the hospital. It was a really bad pattern and one that I don't wish anybody to repeat. And it turned out that I'd been trained by some of the best trainers in the world, whether it's Tom Hopkins or Jay Abraham or Keith Cunningham, all these people, Tony Robbins and so forth. And I always had the tools, but I didn't necessarily have the right resources available in the early years. So I ended up meeting Tony Robbins. He changed my life. I won for being most effed up, which meant that on Date with Destiny, I was looking for a suicidal person. And somehow he found me, which I know today how he did. At the time I didn't. And it turned out that he helped me get through the stuff I was dealing with. And because of that, I've been committing a month a year to him for the past 30 years. So that has been amazing for me. And Yardley came into my life and I kept indoctrinating him to the Tony world. And my stepson was having some challenges. I said, we need to go to a Tony event. We need to bring Sean. And he's like, why do I need to go to Tony? I've been living with him for 17 years at that point. And I'm like, oh, it's not the same. I'm not Tony. And we ended up going to an event together and it transformed his life. That was 13 years ago. We went from being corporate people, everything was wonderful until 9/11. And after 9/11, Yardley was in a position with PricewaterhouseCoopers. He was a programmer. He had a 3-month project that lasted
13 years.
Yeah, as a COBOL programmer. He wrote the billing system for them. And he was truly the Michael Jordan. If something went wrong, they were calling us on a vacation and flying him home, costing more than the whole trip just to be off, because it was a penny, it was millions to UPS that he was doing the billing system for. So we ended up being great. He was out there shining and doing wonderful. But after 9/11, they got rid of all the consultants and all the contractors and were looking for employees. And his friends were losing their jobs in their homes. And he was giving up. And I don't want to go get a job. I don't know what I'm going to do. We started a business together. So 21 years ago, we started working together. And from there, it's been amazing and never turned back.
With a slight caveat, having worked all your life in corporate and working for someone, when I got let go, what happened is that when you're used to working for someone, and then what happens is now you're working for yourself and want to start your own business. It's like one of those weird things. Like I was really lazy, but I was like, what do we do? Or what do I do? So I actually didn't do anything. My wife one day goes, what did you do at work? And I was like, well, if I wasn't busy, then I'd just be on the computer or whatever. And they paid me anything, right? Just to sit there. It's just, yeah, honey, but we have our own business and we need to do something. So I was like, I'm always reporting to someone. So I figured at that point, we started in a network marketing company, became one of the top 1% money earners, and we're still belong to that company now, as well as the fact that I just treat it like this is so much easier if I just make my wife my boss, right? So I work for my boss. It's that simple. Because it's so much easier to take direction from my wife than just be driven to do it on my own. So that's what happened.
But he didn't listen.
No, I didn't listen.
You guys have so much fun together and you laugh, and yet there's like this passion, this tension a little bit, which is so interesting because you don't always see eye to eye often, but how do you make that work in those situations? Like Yardley said, I made my wife my boss. What did that feel like? Because many men wouldn't say they would do that. How did that feel for you?
Oh, funny that you would ask on it. What happened is that back in 2003, like Lisa mentioned, that when I lost my job, for probably 7, 8 years, what had happened is that we had a role reversal. So there's a lot of people, if they've never been indoctrinated into the masculine feminine world, we each have both masculine and feminine traits. So what happened is that I believe that I was masculine to the core. My wife is feminine to the core, and we had a role reversal because she became the breadwinner. And what had happened from that point is she literally wore the pants in the family, which was really weird when you say it, because when I met her, she was wearing skirts, dresses, and things like that. And all of a sudden, she's like, what happened? The sexy dresses went away. She's like wearing pants. I'm like, geez, you're like wearing the pants in the family. And then I became feminine And then she owned the masculine, and that started banging things where we started banging heads, because what happens is really simple. We do understand that opposites attract, and everyone sees that, and you understand that. But what had happened was, is that when she's in her true feminine at the core and she's asking masculine, she doesn't have an opportunity to move back into her feminine. That caused a lot of resistance. 8 years later, when I was introduced with Tony Robbins, when we went to the event at Date with Destiny, he actually saved our marriage. And from that point, I was like, wow, I can only hope to give back to other people in society similar that have challenges in their relationships with themselves or with other people based on masculine and feminine and things like that. And also be able to use that. We used to sit in the same room 6 feet apart. So Jill, in reference to your question, it was one of those, I don't want to say the word yes, dear, but I guess my wife turned it and said, I was your magic genie. So if something would be wrong, I was just like, my aim is to please her at all costs. So what had happened was, is that if there's something that I would hear on a whisper, oh, I wish I had this or this situation. I was just like, I'm Mr. Fix It. I got this. It will show up on the doorstep from Amazon the next day. She's like, where's the stuff from? I didn't even ask for it. And I'm like, it's some things, which was really funny, she didn't even ask for. I ordered it. And when it showed up, I was talking about it, but I didn't want it. I was like, too late. But I figured that's what I wanted to become. I want to become what she would say, her genie. So if you ask for it, be careful. What you ask for is going to come true. Jill, I love doing that for you, for my friends, and for my wife, and some people closest to me. Like Amazon even moves to same day shipping. So that's just exciting that it can come the same day. Like we just talked about it at 10 o'clock in the morning. It showed up at 5 o'clock. It's like, that's right. Because we want to make it happen.
Yeah, Jill knows what that's like.
Yes.
I know. You guys stay with me. I had these Amazon shipments. You fixed my refrigerator door. They rearranged my furniture. Thank you. All this is like the feng shui of this is all because of Yardley and Lisa. Thank you. In my office. And oh my God, I just loved it. Yeah. So yeah, it's great. Because Yardley's like a roller chair in your office. He goes, it's noisy. You can get these little wheels. The next thing you're like, oh, okay, great. Yardley, I didn't think about that. And the next thing they're like at my door. I'm like, oh, thanks, Yardley. Yeah. So it's really wonderful the way you do that. And I think not all of us appreciate people who have acts of service. Like you do that so well. And you've shown me that that by seeing you two together and also those moments where you did that, how much I do appreciate that. I didn't know that about myself, probably quite to that extent until I saw you both in action. So then you go back and say, I'd like to go back to Lisa, with your book, when you first started Find a Fab. What was going on before Find a Fab that made you write that book? That's your first one, right?
Yeah, that's the first book. So this book came about, and it's funny, when we started dating, we stopped it. We saw a psychic. We were at a mystic fair and we saw this psychic, and she looked at Yardley and said, we were just walking, how do you pick a psychic? And she said to Yard, you're going to get your pool, and pointed to him and looked at me and said, you're going to get your sunroom. And then she told us that there was someone at the fair that was important to me. I said, no, him, because it was my stepson. And she says, no, you. And then she said to me, you're going to write a book. And I said, I'm not going to write a book. I said, I bought a book on speed reading and never finished it, not writing a book. And then she told me all these other things. So fast forward years later, like 10 years, 12 years later, all of a sudden at a Tony event where we're platinum partners, all the stuff's going on. And I'm with Lauren Slocum. We're in Egypt. And Lauren corners me in the Four Seasons and said, you're supposed to help women. I said, no, I teach people how to make money. She says, no, you're supposed to help women. And I said, no, I teach people how to make money. So she starts muscle testing me. She says, you're supposed to do both. So I said, no. A year later to the day, I wake up and I'm on the landing. We lived in a split and Yardley's down below. And I wake up and I come down the landing and I said, handsome, I'm supposed to save lives. I said, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but you have to take over our business. I'm no longer going to do that. I'm going to do this. And I decided to start Find to Fab. And Find was how I used to feel, which actually means bucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional, to Fab, fabulous, awesome, beautiful. And what a lot of people didn't know is I was unbelievably successful, but at a cost. I had an eating disorder. And it started after a date rape when I was 18 years old. And I told my mom, and she said, don't tell your dad, he'll kill you. So it became my fault, not the person. And I started stuffing my feelings. And then a year later, a boss attacked me at 19, associate again at 20. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I spent 13 years in dis-ease with this eating disorder. And I got down to 20 pounds lighter than I am now. So I was very tiny and very sick and was in and out of hospitals for 13 years, 6 times. And when Lauren said I'm supposed to help people, because Lauren and I today, 20 now, the date now, almost 30 years later, know each other 30 years, but at the time, this was 13 years ago, she said, you're supposed to help women is because a lot of people saw me as so successful, but they didn't know there was a backstory. They always sort of had a silver spoon in my mouth that I had it easy. You got this all covered. So every time I would do something, I go, you don't understand because you this. And I'm like, you don't know my story. The only difference is I didn't perseverate over it. I didn't tell everybody else's story. I didn't use it as an excuse not to do something. I used it as an excuse to push me to say, I'll show you. I don't need anybody. I'm going to make this work. And I succeeded. And that was the cool thing is I succeeded. And I've been in sales and marketing all my life. And people didn't know. They always thought you just had it handed to you and didn't know that I had to earn it too. So when I came out with the book, it hit #1. It got me on the talk on CBS, on ABC, NBC, Fox, everything. And it just went viral. It became this really big thing. And that was the first book. And since then, there's been 3 books, all #1 bestsellers. And I'm in 2 other books as well. And it's been amazing. It wasn't what I expected, but it's what I ended up doing. So I help people personally and professionally today. My passion is helping them build their business. At the end of the day, you are your business. So if you aren't in tow and check in what you want and staying congruent, it makes it hard to build it.
Yeah, you have your systems too. I loved it. I spent 6 months with you, working with you. And as I say, you were the one who, what I love is you have different ways of doing it. You have group coaching, were doing, and we still are, is like we have a once a week call, and that's the kind of the mid-range version. And then I did the Cadillac plan, the one-on-one, because I know myself well enough to know that at the time that I needed someone to pull it out of me to hold my hand. And that's what you did so well. And it's not, oh, it's okay, Jill, if you didn't do your homework, it's okay. No, you were like, And you would literally sit there with a call and meet with me, and we'd be like, okay, so tell me about that. What was that feeling like? What was that experience? And I'm like crying and I'm talking and recording it. And you were pulling it out of me. I was literally like in labor for 6 months, and you were just drawing this out of me. And I think that's what I love so much about what you do is that you don't give up on your clients. You don't teach just a system. It's okay, this is a 12-step program or a 10 module program. And let's go through this. And here's the homework. And then how'd that feel for you? And what did you do? And the next thing is this. It was like you made sure that I wasn't going to fail.
And also, you have amazing gifts and knowledge that can make a difference to so many people. And you keeping it to yourself is really selfish. So unless we get it out so that we can make a difference in other people's lives, I'm not fulfilling my mission. And my mission is to touch more lives than Oprah by helping people who help others. It is my job to make sure you do what you say you want to do so that we can all succeed.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've done that. And it's constantly evolving. And I think that's what I've seen so many people who offer something they say similar to what you do. But again, like I said, you will make sure and carry it to fruition. You make sure that baby is born and that it is closed and it's getting healed and that it's getting healthy and it's growing and it's happening and you're constantly checking in. And yeah, I haven't seen that very often. So I do appreciate that about you so much. And it's nurturing and yet it's tough love too, which is great. So what is that like then? So tell us about what you do now. I know you've cut back a little bit. You've moved down to Sarasota from the Northeast and New England area, and you're finally down here in New Jersey and all that. And you've made this move in life and transition. So tell us what that's like right now. What's life like for you guys now?
Well, life for us
Like
is
in general. Yeah. And then we'll go into what you're doing with work, how that's changed your career again.
without a doubt. So I think that I have to back up to 2 years ago to see what happened. And so to be clear, I've spent the last 40 years in sales and marketing. I've been self-employed for all my life except for 4 years. So just to give you perspective, I'm not the youngest of them anymore, but I've been working a lot by myself for a long time. So I'm very familiar about what to do and how to do it. And during COVID, we had a situation we didn't expect. 9/11 changed our life the first time since we've been together. And that's when Yardley got downsized
Mhm.
and his contract ended and we had to start over. And I started to, like he said, I started building a business. We ended up working it together and that was really great. And it got us, what people don't realize is we went from millionaires to paupers. I think I need to pre-frame that. I was a millionaire when we got together and we were dating, and then MCI became WorldCom and my 401k, my ESOP was part of that. And then they went bankrupt. So we never sold it. So we lost it all and we had to start over. And then 9/11 happened. He lost his contract. We got ourselves out of it by building a business in the direct sales industry where we became top number 1% in the world. But then what happened is COVID hit, and where everybody else was freaking out, I saw it as an opportunity for my business. We had already had online businesses. We have a web development company. We have 3 companies. And I said, and that's 26 years. And I said, I know how to get people online. I'm going to take the brick and mortar to click and order. I'm going to teach them how to do that. We ended up building, I took COVID as an opportunity and it literally exploded our business. Oh, huge, like overnight. But what we didn't expect is Yardley got COVID and got sick. And he ended up in the hospital, not for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, but a couple of months. And he was in ICU and we almost lost him. He almost died 3 times. And we were at the point where we were a year into COVID and people were venting everybody and they were dying. And we had friends that were guiding me all the way with what to do and how to help him. And he went to a hospital that did not have the facility to take care of him properly. So he ended up having COVID, a cytokine storm. They
Double
put him
pneumonia.
double pneumonia.
I had a heart attack from the second day in the hospital.
He had the widowmaker, and then he ended up, they didn't have a cath lab. They couldn't even take care of him. He had 100% blockage and and he was on 100% oxygen.
Oh my
And
God.
they couldn't transport him to another hospital. So we had to wait till he can breathe on his own. And the whole thing was catastrophic at the time because I couldn't even go in to see him. That's when they had all the restrictions and everything else. And I would sit on the phone on FaceTime waiting for doctors to come in to see what I could do to help, and had a whole team of people, resources helping me to help him. And a long story short, we went against protocols. We did what we needed to do. We got him the help he needed. We fired doctors, hired other doctors, wrote to the president of the hospital to get what we needed. And he's here today and he's a miracle. And saying that, when you say, why are you here? We were in a house for 25 years that we thought we'd be in for a lifetime. And then all of a sudden I have this reality that he may not come home. And if he does, we have 5 acres and 5,000 square feet and of property and waterfalls and pools and gazebos and cabanas. And I can't maintain this. And I'm not.
And I
gonna do it.
enjoy doing it on my own since I had more free time, but it wasn't working out. We found out we were really 3 season people, not 4 seasons. I don't know why we were living there so long all our lives and things like that. So we ended up making a choice decision to come down here in Florida. My wife is my biggest advocate and she's my hero and she saved my life. And I really, it makes you realize at the end of the day, Jill, when you brought a question earlier, since we were sitting 6 feet apart from each other, how do we deal with that? How do we work with each other? How do we even evolve? Because we're literally can say that we're with each other 24/7. So it's a couple of things. Number one is, look, I believe, because if I ask a lot of people, and you might have heard this, a lot of people say, you complete me. So the Jerry Maguire movie is great on the fact of you complete me. I get that. And it was like this moment. That's great. But my belief was always 2 halves don't make a whole. 1 plus 1 in my world is not 2. 1 plus 1 is 11.
Mhm.
So if we go on the thinking that 1 plus 1 is 11, then the great news is if I come to the table at 100%, 150%, and she comes the same way, so we're not 50-50, we meet in the middle, or if I'm having a bad day at 25, she comes with 75 and vice versa. No, we come to the table every single day at 100, 150%, and we're giving ourselves our all. Obviously in the Tony world, you've heard of the different levels of relationship where 1, it's all about me. Number 2, it's all about horse trading. I'll do this for you if you do this for me. And then level 3 is, look, your needs are my needs. I always believe that we go through all 3, but it's where you resell. And I always believe that, and my wife and myself the same way, that we play at a level 3, which means your needs are my needs, irrespective of what the other person says or does.
Yeah.
So if she's having a bad moment or she's having a bad day or she says something to me, It's not going to influence who I am with regards to, great, honey, your needs are still my needs. So if there's something that's out of whack, then the goal is say, hey, listen, then what can I do to make your needs my needs, to make it even better, to make it so that so that we're on the same playing field, that we're moving at the same direction. Does that make sense? So that's what I firmly believe that we can do. Do we run into pitfalls along the way? Absolutely. But at least we have a mutual understanding. We have an open and honest relationship that's, look, if something's on your mind that's bothering you, then we need to speak up, because there's so many times where you ask a person, hey, what's going on? What's wrong? And the worst word that you can hear from is when they turn around, especially a woman, is nothing. Nothing is wrong. Ain't wrong. There's probably a whole stack of things that are happening behind the scenes that that you're not even aware of. And if you get that word nothing, it doesn't work out really well.
Yeah, you got to jump in there and ask more, right? You got to jump in and say, yeah.
So-
And I love the fact that you were an advocate for him, Lisa. I remember being on the phone with you so many times during that time, and just, you were a fighter, you were a bitch, which in a good way. Like, you were like going in there, and some people would be like, oh, they're doctors, I don't want to really challenge them, and I don't want to question what they're doing. And hell no, you were in there going, what's happening? You're bringing doctors of your own in there to check, and all these other things. And I think that is being an advocate. And you basically, I think you saved Yardley's life. And through the trials and through what you're talking about, Yardley, too, is that how do you, when things are down, Lisa, and when you're going through when you're going through difficult situations in relationship, how do you maintain and still keep your career and keep things going as a coach? That's the thing that I hesitate with coaching people, because when I have ups and downs, I'm thinking like, if I can't even take care of me some days, how can I take care and help someone else? And how do you maintain that and still show up for your clients? And how do you maintain the ability to make money and to be successful when you had going through that?
I think it's interesting to believe that you will never have ups and downs. And I feel like that's one of the misnomers people have, is that in order for me to do something, I have to have a perfect life, because then if I don't, then how can I help others? And I remember that was one of the big things I had when I started Fine to Fab. I never questioned my ability in coaching people on how to make money. We've done over 165 million in sales in my career between myself and my teams. So that was never a question. But for some reason, when I started Fine to Fab, I had this question of, I'm abstinent from hurting myself for 30 years. What happens if I have a slip? Then all of a sudden, I'm no longer qualified to help them. But where did I get that rule that I had to be perfect? Do you think about that? Where do you get the rule that you can't have ups and downs and still coach people? Where do you get the rule that you have to be a certain way before you can serve another community? And I think that's the loss that people have, and the miss of why they don't actually raise to their highest standard, because they put themselves in a position where they have to be something before they can do something. The truth is that you don't. The truth is that if you're doing the best you can, and I remember, and this just goes back to where it comes from, I was teaching for Arthur Murray Dance Studio. And when I was a kid and I was in college, and we had 3 months worth of training ahead of the people we were training. And it was 300 hours we had to have as a minimum. And I used to say, I don't have enough training. I need more. I need more. And they said, you already have 300 more than they do. And I was like, wait a second. You already, as a coach, you already have how many years of experience of success more than the people you're coaching? So the rule became not about having to be perfect, but I changed it to, we just need to leave people better than how they came to us.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do that, then we're succeeding. We just need to leave them better than how they came. It doesn't judge how you're taking care of something. It doesn't judge that all of a sudden you lose all your knowledge and your experience and your wisdom. It just may be, as Dr. Bandler would say, and I was trained by Dr. Bandler, Grinder, and Dilts in NLP. I'm a master NLP practitioner and trainer. Dr. Bandler used to say, people aren't stupid, they just do stupid. And I was like, so we don't have to all of a sudden lose our identity of who we are. It just means that you're having a weak moment and you're doing stupid. I like that, because we're allowed to have those moments. The difference is, in the past, that moment might have lasted you a month. Now it only lasts you a minute.
Okay. We aren't doing stupid. We're just being stupid.
We're not stupid. We're doing stupid.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. Okay. That makes sense. And yeah, I think that's something that you taught me. I remember when we were going through it, I'm like, how am I qualified to do this? And you said, I remember you saying something like, you can be as little as 2 weeks ahead of someone and you're ahead of them and you can show. And I think what I've learned since that time is it's not even just 2 weeks. It's sometimes when we're still fresh and it's still fresh and we're just overcoming it and we're in the middle, we have the most opportunity. We can tap into that understanding better than if we are totally past it and we've survived and we've my program from surviving to thriving that I've never released and I'm going to rebrand it and that's coming soon. I worked with someone the other day, my Laura Metro, who I interviewed, we're working on a new thing, but is that it's the when you're in it and when you're so much further ahead of it, is that it's not as relatable. It's like the best. I always say the best country Western songs are written when someone's just got dumped because they're writing about it from the heart and it's still there. And I know we don't want to teach from the wound. We want to teach from the scar, they say. But at the same time, I think when it's fresh, we can tap into the most practical steps that have worked for us and how we got through it because we forget. So shifting to another direction, I think what's fascinating about you both is the dynamic that you have. What I think is so fascinating is Yardley is a relationships expert and you coach professionals too. So you have such a broad area where Yardley, you helped me, like as I said earlier, personally in relationships, and you both have with your program that you did for coaches the weekend, and not for coaches, for people who are in relationship or seeking a relationship. And at the same time, Lisa, you have this incredible ability to the two of you working together. Tell me a little about what it's like. If you said you work together, you spend 24/7 together. So how does that work? And how can someone be in that space and be effective and have a business together and make it work? What are your tips and tricks? What are the things you do best that you would say?
I think what we do best is we communicate. And that was a big deal when it came to working together. I remember we started working together and I call Yardley up, and as he shared before, I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Nothing, or I'm playing games, I'm doing this." And I'm thinking, what? And I really wanted to beat him up at that moment. And then I remember him saying something. He said, "Honey, when you buy a car, you buy it from the salesperson. And when the car breaks down, you bring it to you bring it to the service department. You don't do everything." And I came from a belief that if you own your own business, you need to know how to do every single role in that company. Yardley had a very different philosophy, and it actually helped us when we understood what his model of the world was versus my model of the world. My model is, if I have to do everything, you have to do everything. His model is, I'm not the salesperson, I'm the mechanic. I don't have to do any of that. So understanding it and not trying to make him me is really what saved us, because originally I'm thinking, why do I have to do all this? Why aren't you doing it all? And he's, I'm not capable of doing all this. I can just do this. And I think understanding that was a saving grace, right?
I got deemed as the CEO, which is the chief everything officer, or the chief everything else officer, where I take care of everything that Lisa doesn't like to do, the mundane stuff and things like that. And at the same time, I make it a game and I make it exciting for myself. But I also want to get the job done. Right. So it's just a matter of understanding each other's strengths and weaknesses. And like she already mentioned, I like to departmentalize everything and say, okay, you're great at this, and then do more of that. If it's sales and speaking to people and you have that gift of gab, do that. Let me do what I do best. And then we can play off each other. And I'm always learning too, because I always believe, even if she is a coach, that every coach needs a coach. And I had a hard time, Jill, like you did in the past, where we're like, wow, what qualifies me to be able to coach? My answer to it is really simple. If every coach needs a coach, or more importantly, as I mentioned to my wife one time, I was like, listen, even the Michael Jordans or the Tiger Woods has a coach. And the answer is, if you're so great, why are you on the PGA Tour? It's because I'm good, because I can spot it. Just like if you spot it, you got it. My wife is really great at detecting it, but more importantly, she can do everything. She is literally amazing. She can not only do it, but she also holds people accountable. That's what you led to before, Jill does. Hey, listen, I can get a lot of information from a lot of people out there, a lot of speakers, and learn a lot. The difference is I fall in the category of everyone else, where the majority of times, like, oh, great information, and took it down, I'll apply it a little bit. And you give my wife anything that she's interested in, she performs. She takes it in, she recites it, she engulfs it, and then she applies it. And then what happens is, if you take her on as a coach, she holds your hand. So she's a DY, she's a DWY, which is do it with you. Yeah. So she doesn't let go. It's like you said, Jill. Oh, I didn't do my homework. We're just going to grab you there.
Let's just do it right now. And I'm like, oh,
Exactly. Like everybody
Come
can
on,
learn
next
something.
week.
Everyone, right? As a trainer. However, what happens is people fall off. So they spend thousands and tens of thousands of dollars getting education. That's fantastic. My wife has $1 million education. I have at this point, almost $500,000 education. But I'm one of those, yeah, okay, dropped the 500,000, didn't apply very much, stuff like that. Got a lot out of it. And I can recite it and spit it out like a parrot. Doesn't mean I live it. But my wife, on the other hand, lives and breathes it. She holds you accountable at the same time. And that's what sets her apart from everybody else.
And
Because she can deliver and she'll hold you accountable to it. To the degree of, you're looking at me, to the degree of, you know what? She's guilty of wanting it more for you than you want it for yourself.
Oh, you are so right. That is 100% true from personal testimony on that. It's, what does it say? Les Brown always says is sometimes you got to find someone who believes in you before you believe in yourself. And yeah, that is Lisa in a nutshell, for sure. And the accountability and the tough love and the making sure it's, like I said, it's a homework. It's, oh, you don't just say, let's do it, turn it in tomorrow then, or get that program, those bullet points back to me tomorrow. No, it's okay. No problem. Let's do it right now. All right, go ahead. Tell me what you got. I'm like, I don't want to do it. And I was like trying, and I'm like, but then this is too hard. My husband died, and I don't want to talk about it. But you have to, because it's going to help people who are going through what you went through. I'm like, I know, but I don't want to do it. Ugh. But I got it done because of you, and you didn't give up on me.
No.
And I think that's what I see in you too, is that there is the crux. There is a theme of your marriage and your relationship is you don't give up on each other.
No.
And whether it be health, physical health, whether it be financial situations, you always said, I'm in. Each day you wake up and you choose each other and you say, I choose you. I still choose you. It's not, oh man, this is rough right now. I'm going to have to pull back a little bit, see what's going on. I'm going to go inside and just be by myself. You're like, no, we're riding this roller coaster together, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. And also having a sense of humor, I think helps.
Oh, you guys do.
I think I get it. I have a friend who used to say entertainment means entertain me. And I feel like with Handsome, I get entertained all the time. It makes it easier, even if I don't agree with what he's saying or he's off in left field. I just take it as a sense of humor, as this is who he is. And this is what I loved about him. He was different. He was out there and he wasn't like me. He wasn't as structured. He wasn't all the other stuff, but that's what I love about him. And that's what helps us to make everything work is a good sense of humor and an appreciation for us being different in some areas.
You know what it is, Jill, that I saw too? I understand when you're talking about how sometimes when we get along, I truly understand how frustrating it is for my wife, because when you see the magic and the beauty and the potential in people, right? It can become frustrating at times, especially those closest to you. That is, oh my God, I see so much. It's like, why are you doing more? And the one thing I learned from 2 years ago from getting COVID double negative, was dying 3 times in the hospital, was like, when I came out, I was like, you know what? The most important thing is the relationship I have around those people around me that I love and care about. So whether it be friends and family, that's all that matters. And I might not be able to live up to the hype of being perfect of what everyone's expectations are. But I do realize this, I'm just doing my best. I'm doing the best that I'm choosing to do the best version of myself at that moment. And whether someone likes it or not, it's like, you know what? This is what I've got to give at this moment of time. And I'm okay with that. And I'm happy with myself. And everything, Jill, is when you're on the best description of it, when you face death and then you come out of it, you sit there, wow, anything that you could possibly be angry about or upset about or frustrated pales in comparison when you're on your deathbed. And when you walk out, everything in life is small. And if we treat that like everything in life is small, then our lives, in my belief, can be even more enjoyable. And just enjoy every moment for the little things. And it's fascinating, it's interesting at that moment of time, no matter what's happening in your world.
Yeah. This mutual appreciation. Yeah, for sure. And that being said, it's like just what makes you tick and what makes things work. Lisa, tell me about what you're doing today and what is it that you're how can you impact coaches and people? What is your mission? What is it that you do? And I know you have a great program that you offer and you work one-on-one with people. Tell me about what you're doing today so people can get a better feel for it.
Yes, I am very fortunate to be able to be the coach's coach and helping people create multiple 6, 7, 8-figure businesses. And I love doing that through marketing and sales and giving them systems from what I created that helped me build my businesses called Mastery to Million. And Mastery to Millions just came about because one of my clients said to me, Lisa, how did you do it? How is it that every business you ever started made over 6 figures the first year and 7 figures or 8 figures later? And I sat down and I put down what is the methodology? What is it we did? And then what did we teach other people to do that they duplicated it too? And it just amazing. So I am blessed every day to be able to serve people who serve others. And I already told you what my mission is, to touch more lives than Oprah by helping people who help others. And I actually created that mission back 30 years ago. And I use it as a litmus test for everything I do. When I decide I'm going to do something else in our business, I'm like, does it fulfill the mission? If not, I don't have to do it. And it keeps me congruent and it keeps it easier to build. And then I just came out with this book. This book for this year was How to Build a 7-Figure Coaching Business. And even if you're not a coach and you want to build a business, read the book, because I'm just going to change the word coaching business to consulting business to service business, because it doesn't matter. It's how to build a 7-figure business. And then when AI came out, I got addicted to that, changed my addiction from food to computers and AI. But I actually put stuff in here, that stuff that used to take us, no joke, writing content, scripts, emails, stuff for blogs and other things like that. Even landing pages for websites used to be so expensive to pay a content writer $5,000 to write a page. Today, we're doing it with ChatGPT or other services, Copy AI or Jasper, for pennies. And it's actually making a huge difference. And sometimes they're getting better output when you know what the input should be. And we're literally giving all these people systems and programs to be able to build their business. You and I have a mutual friend. You did an interview with Jeremy and Svetlana. And Jeremy, I worked with his signature talk and built his funnel. He did $1 million in sales in less than 4 months. And this amazing testimonial after from what I showed him how to do. And Todd Hartley is another one of the people I've worked with. And every single launch we've done and all the funnels we built for him, he's done over 6 figures for his video marketing. And I just get blessed every single day to help people like Vinu, who is a parent-child peacemaker, but came to me as a turnaround expert and helped change their marketing, change their model, and be able to help them market their products out there, where when she met me, she wasn't even making near 6 figures. In her first year with me, she made $420,000. I think it might be 450,000. The point is that she did amazing. And I get to be proud every single day that these people are taking their skills and their gifts and going out to the world and making a difference. And it's because we gave them the voice, we gave them the platform to be able to do that, and the skills and resources they need that they didn't have. So I get to do that every day, whether it be through platinum coaching, where I'm holding their hands, and as Yardley said, doing it with them, or through Master to Millions, where we do it in a group delivered format. And I'm even going in right now. We've won many contracts with some Fortune 100 companies, and going in, teaching them how to speak and communicate and sell, where it's been quite extraordinary. So super excited about getting to do what I love.
Yeah. And it's incredible hearing the stories that who you've helped and the money they've made, because several people I've interviewed, we talk about what's your purpose, what's your mission, and finding those gifts. And the fact that your techniques and what you've learned and what you teach is not just the process on how to do it, but it's knowing what you're good at, which is what you said, finding those things you're good at and farming out the others that you're not, but really honing in on. For me personally, it was not just here are the steps, you'll do it. Let's talk about the technical aspect. I really don't like to sell. And you will dive in and say, okay, what are the limiting beliefs behind that? What do you have going on that are causing you to not want to sell and share your gifts with other people? So it's the psychology. It's, as we were talking earlier before we started recording, is what is business, Yardley? Business is 80%.
80% psychology, 20% mechanics, right?
Yeah.
So no matter what, it all circles back to, if your head is not on straight and what you're thinking, then look, the business aspect for most people, they already know what they do and they do it well. And they need a little bit of guidance and a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of hand holding. And that being said, the other 80%, which is psychology, is they can't even get out of their own way, which is why they're stuck wherever they're at. Even the successful people, to become even more successful, It's like they're stuck at where they're at because if they could get out of their way, they'd be even more successful. Isn't that true? And that's what Lisa does the best, honestly. So
You do. You do. And so I'm thinking about the person who's watching this right now who might be changing, going in transition. Maybe they're retiring early or they're not happy in their career. They're maybe our age, that midlife stage. And they're going, like, I just have this idea and I've always wanted to fill in the blank. I'm really good at this. People tell me I'm a good teacher, that I have this passion to help other people. I just don't know if I can monetize it. And that would even be a thing. What would you say to them?
If I first want to know what it is they do and if we can monetize it, I actually take everybody's business and try it on as if it's my own. And my first question to myself is, can I sell this? And if I don't believe I can sell it, I won't even take you on as a client because I need to know there's a market. I need to know there's a profit and loss. I need to know it's scalable. I want to also know that it's going to be something that you're not going to be majoring the minors versus majoring the majors. So a lot of times people, like I spoke with someone the other day as an interior designer, quite honestly, I said to her, what are you charging? She said, 25 an hour. And I said, first up, I don't think that's enough. And I don't think you value yourself, let alone what you do and the experience you have. And I said, I'm not the person for you because I'm looking to help people make a significant income with unbelievable knowledge and something that they can apply that I believe I can make money with. I couldn't even imagine a good interior designer for $25 an hour, but she thought that's all she was valued at. And that alone was a problem. If she was coming to me saying she's at $250 an hour, I'm thinking, okay, there, I have something to work with. I can scale that. We can get other people with as much experience. We can build an organization. We can build something bigger. You see what I'm saying? But when she's there at 25, I'm saying she can't even afford me, let alone she doesn't value herself enough that how can I scale that to even make 6 figures for her, let alone 7? It's not a business. That's a hobby.
That's a hobby.
but I have watched my wife though, that even sometimes when she tries it on, she's, you know what, I don't know how to make this work. She does go back to the client because remember, the client came to Lisa for a reason. And the reason was, you know what, I'm really passionate about this idea that I have. And that's great. So the reverse is, okay, I'm going to try it on. She's going to try it on, see if it's going to work out. Can you monetize? She's already thinking so far beyond what the client is already at. So maybe the client's at the $25 mark and doesn't realize, oh my gosh, I can expand to this because they're not there yet. So I have watched her in action where it's like, all right, I don't think based on what you want to do, you'll be able to scale or do whatever. But because you're so passionate about it, tell me why you want to do this. What's so great about this? Where do you see yourself 5, 10, 15 years out?
Yeah.
How do you plan on scaling up on this? Because if she doesn't see that angle, maybe there's something that she's missing, or maybe she doesn't understand the trait or whatever that occupation is specifically to make it happen. So I've seen you do it both ways. It's not just a question of you saying, hey, listen, I'm going to try it on and see if I can make it work, because you also want them to see, show me your passion. Tell me that what you believe in it and sell me.
I'm also coming from an assumption that they already have to be passionate about it and already want to do it, but they don't believe they can, they're right. If they believe they can, they're right.
Which is part of the 80% psychology, right? Is get out of their own way.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, get out of your way. And the dynamic, this brings me back to someone who they may have an idea, or like me, I was coaching and I loved what you told me that very first call. As I said, you said, well, what do you charge? And I said, $250 an hour. And you said, first of all, you'll never charge by the hour again because you charge for an outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, okay. And I liked that idea. And because it's like going to the gym. If you go one time, you're going to be like, oh, this sucks. It didn't do anything for me. And so you don't go back. You need to go consistently and have the goal and have the outcome that you expect and to see what happens. So it's a package, or it's a length of time, not just a one and done for a lot of businesses. Now there's other businesses that may be different. So I don't want to just pigeonhole this talk about the only people you work with are coaches, because you don't, and you have experience in so many areas. And like you said, with the book, you can replace the word coach with about anything. But what about someone who just was like me? I'm like, oh, my coach. And you actually, we really broke it down to niching it more. And you helped me discover what it is my purpose and where I really could shine the most and where I could work and focus, working with people who had lost and who had having to reinvent themselves, which is what I was doing there. How does that, you can do that as well. It's not like, what if I don't have an idea is what I'm saying. I don't know, but I know I want to make some money. I want to do something and I want to make a difference in the world. You'll talk to them too, right?
Oh, of course. I think it's really discerning where you're a specialist, where you're the expert, because you don't want to be a generalist. A generalist will have a really hard time and a sea of mediocrity trying to hold up a sign and saying, I'm a coach, I'm a coach, I'm a coach. So what? So is he, and so is she, and so is he, and so is she. And what makes you different? The way to do it is to find out where you can stand out, where you can really have a niche that will be no competition. They're coming to you and you're solving this challenge. And when you do that, you also get to pay for it. It reminds me of the story of there's somebody had a challenge and they called a plumber comes over or a carpenter. And I think I ruined the joke.
Carpenter.
I ruined the joke. He comes over, they hear knocking on the walls and he takes a nail and he hits it and he goes $1,000. And they said, $1,000, you just took a nail. The nail cost a penny. He goes, a penny to know where to hit it, a penny for the nail and $999.99 knowing where to hit it. So it's more of there's a specialist. There's something that you do really well. And I remember Deepak Chopra was another one of my mentors back in the day. He said to his kids, he never said, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be anything specific. He said, there's something you do better than anybody else in the world. Your job is to figure out what that is and do it. And each one of his kids has a very unique specialty in what they do, and they became very prominent in their fields. I think it's the same thing for any individual, for every single one of us. We have a past that has made us who we are. Every one of us are unique in that manner. And if you feel like you have something that can serve a community differently than anyone else, and you'll leave them better than how you found them, which is what I said my rule is, they have to leave better than how you found them. You can build a business around it. Yardley would say to me all the time, he goes, honey, I've never met anybody that can just turn around one day and decide, I'm going to build a business on this. And I did that 26 years ago with our web development company. I turned around one day, I said, we're going to sell websites. He was a computer programmer, COBOL, mainframes, not websites. And I said, we're going to build a website business. And then I decided I'm going to bill $150 an hour. And he goes, and this is 26 years ago. And he says, how did you figure $150 an hour? I go, you make that. So why can't I make that? Literally out of the air, just pick the number because he's making that. I should. No, I didn't have all these years of experience or anything else, but I figured if he's able to get that number, it's a good number. I'm going to just do it. And I went out there and I sold all these websites. And we delivered them. We didn't even know how to build them, Jill. It was quite embarrassing, but we sold them, made over 6 figures. It was probably about $250,000 that year. But I turned around 3 years later and I looked at what we did and I said, oh my God, that was really bad. It really wasn't very good. We weren't graphic people.
We started going back to the clients and redoing it for free.
We went back and redid all the first year's people for free because I felt so guilty of taking their money. We had to redo like 100 sites for free because I was like, this wasn't before qualified. We shouldn't have done that. But they've loved us and they stayed with us for years because our integrity is my number one value, is very high. And I just looked at it as like, I can do anything. And I just make a decision. This is what I'm going to do today. Just like the book, whether it was Fine to Fab and we built the business, or whether it's Master to Millions and how to do that, or whether it's now Yard's new book with pickleball. I just posted his book on Facebook the other day and said, Yardley has a book. He does. He hasn't gone through the editor yet, but we made the cover. He already got the book. I'm like, I know. He won't go follow through. But I decided if I posted it on social media, it's going to have to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So I put the book out.
Absolutely. From all the stations, I'm like, oh gosh, when Lisa came out with Find the Fab, I was like, I'm always believe on optimizing speed. So if you got your book done, it's got 10 chapters and I literally copied her book. I changed it's called You Don't Know What You Don't Know, but what if you did? Right. So I wrote that book within an hour, within a day and everything. I just never sent it to the editor. Like, changed all the chapters, what the names are on my book. And then even the forward, I left it alone. So I literally said, when she said to my husband, handsome, I just switched it like to my lovely wife, Lisa. I was like, oh gosh. And I was like, okay, I can't take everyone else's forward. But I was like, oh, so I got this book done like in record time. I just never published it.
Never published it.
So then after coming out of the hospital and things, and I had to do the cardiac rehab, what happened was like really lazy. I don't like to walk. I don't like to exercise. But then they're like, why don't we start taking up what our friends are playing pickleball? I'm like, pickle what? So yeah, let's start taking pickleball. I was like, and I got into it. I was like, my God, I'm having such a good time. So I was like, listen, I was like, let me become an instructor. Did you ever think about becoming an instructor? I'm like, no, but I'm interested. It's okay. I can teach. I know how to teach. Look, I might not be the best, but I can see the challenges and the errors of others, right? So it's really easy to help and teach other people how
You became certified.
I know. So then I became a certified pickleball instructor. I was like, wait a second, all these different books along the lines, they give all this mechanics. I was like, but I really never get into the strategy, they get into the front of things. So I was like, I told my wife when she came out with this book, I was like, listen, we're going to get even better. I'm going to write a book on pickleball and how to play. Now you need to understand something. This was last year when I wrote the book. And it's how you make it out. Everybody's on me like, how you making out on this? So I was like, it's almost ready for the editor. So Lisa did me one better 2 days ago. She's now we're down in Florida. You're enjoying it. You're out playing pickleball. You're helping other people all over the way. And it's time to finish a book. Matter of fact, you know what? We're going to get the cover made up. I love the cover. I'm like, look, I'm not particular on those details. Just make it happen, whatever. And all of a sudden she's blasted on social media. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, I guess you have to send out.
Well, Jill, this just goes back to what you said before. Is if you say you want something, I want to make sure you get what you said. So I'm going to make sure I support you to get it done. So he's going to get it done.
Yes, I am going to get it done.
Just like I held your hand to make sure you got it done. He's going to hold his hand to make sure.
I think it's a new technique that she came up with. I know it's probably been invented before. It's like, hey, you want to do this? Okay, you know what? We're going to set up your appointment. We're going to set up your retreat. We're going to set up your webinar. We're going to set up your book.
Let's do it.
And by the way, we're going to throw down on social media. So now we just committed you. I was like,
just do it.
it's that
Just like
for a moment, but then it's that excitement afterwards. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I'm the author. And I don't even know when my book's coming out, but she just pushed the envelope. Guess what? I guess it's coming out. It'll be done in the next week or so.
Right. The dynamics, so this is the crux of this whole thing, is the dynamics of you two as a couple. And it's just so inspiring because it's not like everybody else. It's this, you actually do play off on each other's strengths and weaknesses in a way unlike anything I've ever seen. And it's a way that you're gentle and you're kind with each other. What a lot of couples would say is, they get mad. How could you put that on social media? You guys just laugh about it. And you're like, okay, I guess I'm going to do this now. And it's just beautiful to watch this whole thing unfold the way you work together.
Thank you. It's working.
It's working really well. And it's honestly to appreciate each other's passions. You asked before, are we going to do this Ignite Your Flame workshop again? And my answer is yes, absolutely 100%. Why not? Lisa, she wants to focus on business. And at the same time, I was like, listen, I love this part of the relationship. It's really exciting to be able to help people out, in my opinion. And we help each other in different ways and help other people in different ways. Mm-hmm. And it's whatever excites us. Does that make sense? Jill, you gave me the pleasure of having an opportunity to work with you. And I'll never forget, because all of a sudden out of nowhere, even my wife doesn't know this, we invented this thing. We were just talking about relationship because we found out, Jill, that as we were chit-chatting, we were like, a lot of people are stuck in their relationship.
Uh-huh.
And they're just comfortably miserable. So one of the things we came up with, and Jill's like, it was a moment. I'm like, yeah, that sounds really good. This was, so my wife's, what are you talking about? I was like, so Jill and I are talking. I said, Jill, whatever size you are, whether you're size 2 or you're size 4 or size 0, what happens is, okay, so you're a size 2, you like wear size 2 clothes, but all of a sudden you're wearing size like 6, size 8. And then the answer is why? And I said, you know what? Just makes me feel good. I can just chill out and stuff like that. As a matter of fact,
but the size 6 going back, the size 6 coming back is that's the person that I met that I wanted to go out with or I was dating. And we're basically, I'm a size 2 or 0. And I met a size 4 dress, so to speak. And so this person is not aligned with where I am. And so now proceed with people can follow what that was. Go ahead.
So if you don't mind me using that exact, what happened with us, with you, Jill, was, okay, so Jill, you're a size 2 trying to fit into size 4. And I was like, you know what? And you're okay with that. I was like, you know what? I can make this fit. Gain a little bit more weight. Or if it was the reverse, you're a size 2 trying to fit into size 0. You know what? I can lose the weight. It'll fit. It's a little tight or it's a little loose and stuff like that. But the question that comes up is, you're a size 2 and you're wearing a size 4. Do you want to be in a size 4? And some people are complacent. They're like, you know what? I'm okay with it. I don't mind wearing something bigger than what I don't look perfect in it, and I'm okay with it. And you know what? I'm perfectly happy being miserable or sitting at a size 6 or a size 8. And the reality is really simple. You know what? That's great for a lot of people, but what do you want, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to be the size 2 and fit into size 2? And we're talking about relationships now. Then get out of burn the size 4, get rid of it.
And you can't alter it either. You can't take it in. It doesn't work.
We tried though, right, Jill? We try to make alterations.
Try to gain weight.
Work.
Gaining weight is like atrophying. And in a situation, I could literally feel myself atrophying, not like a muscle, like a physical, like a body muscle. Is this like getting smaller in who I was and hiding who I was and not showing up authentically. And I think that's the whole, to bring it full circle of what the metaphor was about, is that. And I think what I see with you two, and you've seen me in relationships, and is that the goal is to show up totally authentically and real. And you demonstrate that and show that every day, even when it's not perfect. And even when you say, yes, I want to do the weekend again, the relationships coaching, and Lisa's no. And you're like, and that's okay. It's like you just laugh about it and you move on and you find a way to meet your needs and to support each other in what it is that you do want to do. So it's so great to see that. And so, Lisa, I would ask you this too, is when in a relationship where I was actually thinking more about like in coaching is how do you know if someone's growing, like when you guys go back to the point where you were about to, I'm going to step back because I want to just close this out with how can someone completely work together and have a business and succeed is where one is growing and the other one isn't, or they're not at the same level. How do you support your partner? Because that happens a lot where someone wants to change and have a new life and they were doing something new, like you're doing. What if you wanted to move to Sarasota and Yardley didn't, or vice versa? How do you deal with things like that when we change over time and make that happen?
Interesting question. I think that the more you push, you get conflict and you get resistance. And I think at some point you have to stop pointing the fingers. And I always would say, if you're pointing a finger, three are pointing back at you. So if I'm going to keep telling you what to do, I have to see, why do I need you to do that? Is this thing I really want to do? Moving to Sarasota in our case was a logical conclusion after we sold our home 2 years ago. And we knew that we were going to end up somewhere else than not in New Jersey. And we're going to do it together. I think that when people grow, you need to grow together. But if you force it, it doesn't work. When we were at Tony Robbins and Sean was having challenges, I signed up for the Platinum program. I was going to answer your question. And I came back and Yardley's, okay, so you're doing the Platinum and I'm going to come on the trips with you. I go, that's not how it works, honey. I'm going.
This is a long time ago too. This was years ago.
This is 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And what happened is Milton, one of our Platinum partners, made a comment I thought was really good. And he used a different metaphor. I'll use my own. He said, you can't, if you're going to go to this thing and you're going to learn how to be a pilot and fly the plane and you two work together all the time, you can't come home and give him the wheel and say, you fly, because he didn't take the lessons you did. And for that reason, we signed Yardley up at 2 a.m. for Platinum and didn't know what I was doing because I didn't know at the time where the money was going to come from. We had just lost everything. We had to restart again and rebuild our wealth, which we did multiple times over. And the difference is I didn't go in with the same belief I did before, is that you have to match my efforts. You have to do as much as me. You have to do that. That was the person 25 years ago that wanted us to be at the same place, at the same time, doing the same things. And then realizing in relationships is that you really need to learn to complement each other versus force each other. Find out what each other's strengths are and respect where they're at. And if they don't want to grow, you keep growing, but God willing, they'll see the fruits of your labor and want to go with you. But as soon as you start pushing and forcing, you'll get resistance. And then all of a sudden you're making the other person miss out on the opportunity of wanting it because you're pushing them to do it versus letting them decide and to make their own decision to walk into it. I think that's a really big thing in relationships. I've learned Yardley, as much as I want him to do everything I do, as well as I do it, it's not a reality. And there are things that he does so much better than me. And I don't want to do half the stuff he does. And I'm so grateful that let him do it because that's awesome. I don't have to. And that's different than 25 years ago of me. Why aren't you doing this? Why do I have to be the one to do that? And all the rules that came with it. I think in relationships, we're not always going to be on the same page. And hopefully more times than not, you are. But it's not a push and it's not a judgment call. Just because someone doesn't want to do what you want to do doesn't mean they don't love you. It just means they have different interests. But also, how do we find it where it can work for both of you? I think that's a big thing. I'm not looking to have a relationship where I live in one state, you live in another, then we're not meant to be together. And that's okay too. But you said it before, Jill, we choose every day to stay together. I remember I was married before and my ex used to say to me, you're stuck with me. And I said, I'll show you stuck. And I got out of that. And so I'm not stuck with him and he's not stuck with me. And we get to choose every day to be together.
In addition to that, I also, yes, me too, every day. And in addition to that, I think it's also respect level. So we all have different needs and the need structure that we have, and we have different priorities of it. So it's respecting one another's level of need and what priority we have it in, and at the same time, to show each other, how can I help and support what you want, your outcome is, and most importantly, how to celebrate, right? So when you achieve that goal or whatever you're trying to do, because she's so growth oriented, it's amazing. I'm there like, hey, listen, I just want to be your support structure. What can I do to help you grow even faster? And oh, by the way, as we're moving along the way, how can I find out, because I am interested, even if I'm not interested in growing at the pace you are, but the idea is I do want to know what you learned, right? And find out a little bit if that's something that interests me. And at the same time, I'm going to celebrate with you after whatever it is that you learn, so that we take the time out with each other to share with each other. Hey, this was what I learned today. This is what I want to do. This is my next focus and direction. And goals like, great, honey. Good for you. What can I do to support you? How can I make that magic happen, Mr. Genie here? And then at the same time, say, hey, how can we celebrate the win? So that you're not celebrating. Look, I'm all about celebrating the win with you and doing anything, getting away. So, yeah.
Such a beautiful experience. I love talking to you, and I love hearing you both share your relationship and experiences and stories and how you make it work, because that's the biggest problem or situation I think people deal with today is, one, is how do they find their partner? Once they do, is how do they, it's not as Tony says, is we don't just find our partner, what we want in someone. It's the, who do I need to be to attract that partner that I want? And so it's not just you do that just to attract them. It's who am I being every day and how am I showing up to continue to bring my best to them so that they choose me and that we both choose each other. So you don't just like suddenly rest on your laurels and kick back and go, okay, I got him now. It's good. All right, now do this for me. Okay. I want this. I want life this way. And you don't do that. And really there's joy. Having been married happily for 14 years, I can really tell you is when you're meeting each other's needs and putting their needs first, there's much more joy in that than in someone giving you what you want. It's like opening it when you go to give someone a gift, when you're exchanging gifts, I don't know about you, but I don't want to open my gift. I want to see them open theirs. I want to see what their reaction is. And there's so much more joy in that. And for those who haven't ever experienced that before, I challenge you to play at a level 3 relationship and try that, because there's nothing more beautiful than when you're meeting each other's needs, because yours will be met tenfold by default automatically when that happens.
Jill,
Yeah.
I think that's so well said. And thank you for that. And the one thing that my wife taught me that I just want to share with you and your viewers was, my wife taught me something at the early going when we first met. Don't do anything for a day that you're not willing to do for a lifetime. Right, hon? That was probably one of the biggest lessons I ever learned that I share with others.
I love that so much. I love it so much. Don't do anything for a day that you're not willing to do for a lifetime. Yeah, because we often show up at our best in the beginning. And it's that being authentic and having integrity, showing up as who you really are. And it's okay if someone doesn't like that, because you're doing yourself a favor and them a favor by it not working out, or it's not a match. It's not a fit. And the worst is like being in something for 2 or 3 years and then you show up differently and they're like, who the hell is this person? I don't know who you are. And then you've got to unravel all that. So totally get it. Final words, any thoughts? I would love to hear more about, we're obviously in circles together, and I'd love to have you back again, Lisa, too. We can talk more about your business and your book. And Yardley, I think you and I need to do a relationships one separate, since we love to dish on that. But tell us one other thing you think that the viewers would love to hear. What is it? What is the inspiring thing that I would say, Lisa, for your business is that people who can want to do everything is like that. How do you just anything? Just tell me something about that.
I think you need to stop. I think people should not try to be everything to everyone and just find something that they love and just do it. And then it's never worked. That's one piece. And also, I'm going to make sure that you, Jill, have the links to the books and to get it for free. So you can just cover the shipping, but you get the books for free.
Thank you.
So you'll be able to have that. And thank you for having us here. It's been absolutely amazing. I'm sure we can go on forever if we chose to, and every kind of topic we can talk about. And I think that one of the things I remember I had used, and I still do today, is always to remember to fly, which is first love yourself. And when you do, everything becomes much easier.
First love yourself. Yardley?
I think following what Lisa just said on that, I really truly believe that people should stop worrying about what other people think about them and what they're doing. Because as we all know, it's so seldom how much they're even thinking about you. But yet we put things in our head that, oh my God, this person might think about me about this and the other things. Like, you know what? Forget it. Just do what you do best. Be happy with who you are inside, and then everything else will follow. If you live by that, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm just being the best me that I can possibly be. And more importantly, and I enjoy and love, I love being who I am. And from that point, I'm golden.
Yes, and I think that's the constant and never ending journey. We all get better at that, but the not worrying about what people think is so key, and loving yourself first is so important. And they really align; they're complementary in those statements. I want to thank you both for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. I know I will be together in Sarasota next month, so that'll be fun. And for everyone watching, please share and subscribe, and put some comments in the comment section below. Let me know what it is you want to hear more of. Do you want to hear more of Lisa on business, more with Yardley on relationships? Do you want them to do their relationships retreat together? Yes. And also I'm going to drop the links of the book, her book. She's going to give it to my viewers for free with this. She just pays shipping. So that's going to be exciting. I'll also drop a link for her discovery call and more information there. And we're going to get Yardley's book link put in there too, because by the time maybe this is released, we will have a book for him to feature as well. Yardley. Yeah, that's going to be exciting. So anyway, stay tuned, everyone, for the next show. Really excited to have you. Thanks for coming today. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.